Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing Chapter 1053 with Akainu Fanboy and Gboss. And also, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. So we were not given a continuation of the Vince Smoke cover story, which I kind of think is interesting for later on, potentially. And we are basically given to the Gorosei right now, and we get to see uh, also just kind of the confusion where they didn't want that particular picture Luffy as Joy Boy to be given, and that they didn't want to include the D either. But it's kind of interesting because the D has been on his bounty posters a lot previously.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out too. I thought that was interesting, because, like you said, they had no problem with showing it before, but maybe because of the combination, because Luffy got a new bounty poster that shows him in Gear 5th, and maybe the combination of the D and connecting it with Nika, maybe there's some sort of thing that someone out there knows that might put it together, or I'm not sure. But we also, the person who took the picture was one of the CP0 agents. We finally get a name for them. Guernica? You think?
Yes, yeah.
I wasn't sure which one it was. It would be funny if it was the scarf guy, but it's probably the one that that escaped. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't. But how would he get up to the roof to get that picture?
yeah, that's a good point. Well, we kind of saw him pretty high up when he was skywalking away, though. So maybe he was able to sneak one, you know. Or maybe they had I'm blanking on the creatures that have. They serve as a type of video camera. In a way.
Weren't they the Marys or something?
Yes. The Marys, maybe they took one, potentially too. So I think that's a possibility, but it is cool to get Big News Morgan's back, and he's saying like, "Hey, I don't want the propaganda to get away with the world government." And he talks about how Cypher Pole's transmission from Wano broke right after they spotted Big Mom's ship. Gears of the world won't stop turning. I won't let the propaganda slide when their real story is so thrilling. So, I think you and I agreed right before this that the Cypher Pole agents didn't get wiped out by Big Mom, and that
No.
they're probably in pursuit basically right now.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, because this is the first time we've heard about the Big Mom pirates since they got kicked off the waterfall by Marco. So, I mean, it's either going to be Cypher Pole, like, giving up on getting into Wano and chasing after the Big Mom pirates because they're there, or I'm still hoping that Big Mom is still alive, and that they rescued her somehow, and that's why they're also chasing after her. Although it does say that, because we see the people of the world reacting to the new bounties, and it said that the bombshell news of the defeat of the emperors, Big Mom and Kaido, spread around the world, and it just says their defeat. It doesn't say their death or anything. So, I mean, it's still even debatable for Kaido, but it's 7 days in lava.
Yeah, and we could talk a little bit more. So I'm curious how much of a time jump there was from the previous chapter and now, in a way.
I don't think it's much, because we see them picking back up where Apu is showing Kid the new posters and everything.
So maybe Morgan's was kind of tapping the lines with CP0 and everything like that, but it is interesting how that CP0 agent's still in contact with the government, but they didn't, in the last chapter, they didn't bring up the Big Mom pirates at all or anything. Maybe they already talked about it before. It's kind of, but they're okay, I guess is what I'm trying to get across right now. So maybe they caught the Big Mom pirates off screen, which I think would be hilarious, and I want it to happen. And we still don't know which Cypherpole agents are on those boats. It could be Lucci, Kaku, we just don't know. It's just very ambiguous at this point. So it is interesting how Morgan says, like, it's a live show, I can't get enough, implying that there's been a lot of big news going around because we don't know what happened to what Blackbeard did, what Shanks has been doing, what happened to the Warlords, what happened to Sabo. But then in the next panel, we do get a picture of Sabo in the background too on that building.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I pointed that out to you, but
yes, you did.
Well, I saw it in the comments and then I pointed it out. But so with Sabo's picture like that, it almost looks like a memorial picture or something, but we don't really know what place this is. So it's probably someplace that was liberated by the Revolutionaries. But yeah, I think that's just, I don't know if we're reading too much into it, because we want to know what happened with Sabo, because he fought both Fujitora and Ryokugyu, who we see later in this chapter is not an easy opponent to fight. But yeah, we've been wondering that since it was said that they fought during the reverie. But the next thing I wanted to point out was the new bounties for Luffy, Kid, and Law. They're all even at 3 billion, and I thought that was kind of low. I kind of estimated between 3 and 4, but I'm surprised that I would suspect Luffy's to be higher, just because of the government knowing what he is. But do you have any thoughts on that?
I think if there's a threat, if you give him too much hyper gas, then basically he's just gonna grow even stronger as Joy Boy and gain more allies. And I think that's kind of one of the elements of Joy Boy, is that he grows armies quickly, and things like that. So they're gonna try not to differentiate him among the others, basically, and I think that's kind of part of the issue there. So I think that's part of it, and also Kaido, Luffy took down, but so many other people were fighting Kaido, and I think Kid and Law taking damage from Big Mom and Kaido, and then basically more or less soloing, duoing Big Mom, right after. So I think in a way, it's what they did was, I'd say, approximately equal to what Luffy did in terms of feats.
Okay.
I would say just one little mini critique. I didn't like how Kid took off without hurting Appu. There's no reason why Kid wouldn't hurt Appu still. Just permanently scarring his friend, and he has very little forgiveness. You could say something else came up, sure. I just don't really think it's much in his characters. I feel like he would have hit first, asked questions later.
Yeah. Because Killer took out Hawkins without any qualms. Exactly.
And Law's reaction's interesting, only insofar as you really think of the theory of him being a sword agent, and I think because he says, look, things are getting complicated. Well, if he was a sword agent, this would make things very complicated. If he had a 3 billion bounty,
I mean,
it's an interesting.
Yeah, when he got introduced, he was only 200,000, but now it's all the way up there.
So if you were to look at it in that lens, I think that line kind of sounds pretty interesting. In that context,
Yeah. You're still sticking to that theory until it's proven otherwise.
Yeah, I guess I just don't really see Law I'm gonna be really surprised about what Law's role is gonna be after this arc. I guess I have a hard time imagining it.
Yeah, well, both him and Kid, because I mean they're both not Law's alliance was only up until he defeated Kaido. And then Kid was just kind of in the alliance because they had a similar goal, and they weren't really technically part of an alliance like Law and Luffy were. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they both do after this.
Yeah. And then we get our good boy Jinbei, only one with manners, showing up to the feast.
Yeah, the proper feast. Even
like
Momo's not there.
His character. That's such his character, though. How honorable he is, and how he fulfills that the Big Mom.
Yeah.
Like he's just someone that just does his word. He's just like one of the most honorable guys around. So I kind of like that a lot. But that was about it. You see them partying, going around, eating. You see Yamato eating with them a bit.
Yeah.
Chopper, which is cool. It's just cool to see the crew interact and everything. And Hiyori's playing a song called "The Moon Princess," which obviously the moon's been a huge role in a lot of this. And then, do you want to just kind of talk about the Tengu stuff with Robin? I know you had some thoughts on this.
Yeah. So we cut to the castle basement. So I'm trying to remember all the way back to the beginning of Wano, where Robin was in Orochi's castle. She was in the Flower Capital castle, and she didn't find the Poneglyph. She found a Poneglyph, wasn't that it? She found one, and then
yes,
but it wasn't the red one.
No, it wasn't the Road Poneglyph. It was the same scene where Hiyori had her first fake out death.
Yeah,
with Kiyoshiro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the scene going on.
So we cut to her, and she's in the basement. And, I mean, you would think that the basement would be one of the first places you look, but that's besides the point. So we see her talking with Tenguyama, who says that he was imprisoned down in this basement where it looks like the Road Poneglyph is at. Because it's differently colored than the other ones. And it's revealed that Tenguyama was Kozuki Sukiyaki, who is Odin's father, who was the shogun before him. And it's funny.
Judge is a better dad. Judge is a better dad. I continue.
So there were hints to this, because I read the spoilers beforehand, and I was like, there's no way. And then I looked up, and there was a Reddit thread back like over a year ago that made the connection, because they share the same voice actor in Japanese.
Yeah, I did remember this theory. Yeah. So I wasn't super shocked. Yeah.
Yeah.
This, but yeah.
But I don't know. I'm kind of torn by this revelation because of the fact that he was imprisoned in here. So I assume Orochi took over with the help of Kaido, and they imprisoned him down in here. But he didn't do anything to help anyone, really. Yeah.
Well, I guess you could say he gave. Oh man, I'm blanking on the sword he gave to Zoro. Not Enma, the other one. And he gave a blade to Luffy, right? If I remember correctly too. But that's about it, though.
Yeah. No, Luffy. He didn't even give it to him. Luffy just took it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. He did really do anything. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm kind of conflicted because he didn't try and do anything, but maybe that was because of Toki's prophecy, because her prophecy was 20 years in the future. So I don't know. I I would have been fine if he wasn't, Odin's father, because he didn't try to do anything. Or maybe I'm misremembering. There's a lot that happened before the fighting started in Wano, with like rallying the troops, because there was always that small faction of Odin loyalists, and I don't think that he was part of that, but because he was living outside of the village, because he said that he couldn't go in because of a reason, and that reason would be people would recognize him.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I don't know. Just you would think that he would try and keep like the flames of hope alive, even more so than they were.
Right.
But
yeah, he's just kind of a loser. You know, like he didn't really do much. He wasn't like anything like his son or his grandson, and his grandson did a lot more than he did. You know, and his grandson was 8 years old. You know, and Momo still had the will to fight. I just watched the anime episode last night with Momo stating his name, you know, in defiance to Kaido and Sanji rescuing him. So it's like an 8-year-old has more courage and integrity than his granddad did, you know. Yeah. And you know, it's a cool contrast, but it's also, but he's like, I contemplated committing seppuku there and then Robin's like, yeah, that's nice, but like the ancient weapon Pluton, it's here, right?
yeah,
cuts him off immediately.
Yeah.
In this moment of opening up, you know.
So that's interesting that Pluton's in Wano, because Pluton is something that can be built because of the blueprints that Frankie had. Yes. So I'm just wondering if it's some sort of ship, or because I always kind of thought that it would kind of make sense for Pluton to be related back to Noah. That was the name of the arc in Fishman Island, right? Or
yeah,
the
yes,
one.
no, yeah, Noah's Ark, yeah.
I always thought it would be related back to that, because that would relate back to the theory where the mermaid princess Poseidon, the weapon, would tear down the red line, and the Ark Pluton would raise them up to the surface to live up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and then we just kind of cut off with him saying, it's in Wano, which makes me think about if Crocodile actually got Robin to tell him where it was, if he would have been even able to get there, to get to Wano and infiltrate it, because of the power difference.
Right. So it's probably going to be more of an end game thing when they finally choose to open the borders in the final war and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
and it's interesting that Robin's talking about this because CP0 is looking to recapture her, and that and who knows if that might happen, because of we switch over to Udon, and I'll let you talk about your brother here.
Yes. So, all the various frauds out there who were saying that first commander equals Admiral in terms of level, because Marco clashed with Kizaru at Marineford. That's all of our evidence. Yeah, well, here's two panels here where Queen and King are getting low diffed by an Admiral, okay? And remember how Marco did against Queen and King. Well, he was passed down and bruised up quite a bit. He held him off for a bit, but then he was down, even though Queen was kind of distracted for part of that fight. But anyways, now let's look at this. That is bullshit. An Admiral is stronger than a first commander, okay? That's gone. All right? I was shocked to see this. I think you could make an argument that they're both dead right now. Because
Yeah, that can be argued.
right, 'cause it was something like the Navy has enough going on its hands right now. The Navy doesn't have manpower to waste on the mess you've left us. Not that I expected much of you bozos, you know.
He doesn't even think of them as a threat.
Oh my gosh, he's drinking. He's drinking right now. That's what he's doing. He's just having a nice beer, sucking the life out of these guys too. And he wiped out all the other beast pirates, which is insane. And no, they're not weekend for people who are going to try to cope their way out of this. Now, it's been like, what, a week? And there are also zones, okay? And zones regenerate the fastest. So no, they just got destroyed. Nothing left.
So, just really quick, I was just going to say, so is Udon where they're holding the beast pirates as prisoners now?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And if that's the case, then why aren't there like samurai that are guarding the prison?
Yeah, I would just say festival, low numbers right now, and
Yeah.
maybe I just say sake of time and how small this, how big this chapter is right now. Oda just kind of had to rush through it. They
Maybe.
couldn't really like show like, oh, here he's gonna take out these samurai, and now he's gonna take out the beast pirates.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Or,
like,
just really quick, I remember in the chapter where the volcano exploded with Kaido's defeat, we saw them reacting from Udon prison. So maybe that's where all the stragglers went. I don't know, because we never see like King or Queen. Like Queen got booted off the island, so I don't know how they found him.
yeah, that's true.
And King didn't necessarily. Wasn't King like by where Zoro was? That all collapsed and Frankie had to rescue him. So
Yeah, he probably flew off too. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's not really clear how they got here, and that could be because of a rushed ending or whatever to this. But anyway, we'll get back to the official introduction of Admiral Ryokugyu.
His power just looks vicious too. I thought like, oh, what can he do with plants? You know, or is it going to be a type of Hashirama thing from
Naruto.
Naruto, right? And this looks like just way more vicious.
Yeah.
It's like, and I mean, and we were talking about this off stream where Oda's like, okay, like people be saying that, you know, the Admirals are just going to be nothing now. You know, they're like nothing. But I've been saying this for a while. It's like, Oda's going to have to up the Admirals even more now because we just saw 2 Yonko get defeated. So he's going to have to make them seem like really hype, basically. And this is how you introduce him. He just low diff 2 commanders. Like nothing.
Yeah.
You know? So
I mean, all the Admirals have gotten really good introductions. Just showing how powerful they are, because I recently reread Marineford, and just the power that the original 3 exuded was just tremendous. And I don't see why people were discrediting them so much in terms of power level. Because all of them are very destructive, and like Fujitora can call down meteors, and now Ryokugyu can just straight up. It looks like he's just absorbing their life energy, which could mean some sort of like regeneration. Because I don't think he's a Logia or anything. He's probably a Paramecia like Fujitora, right?
right.
But yeah. And then
He looks more vicious than I thought he. I thought he'd be kind of like a go-lucky hippie, you know. But he he has more of like the facial attributes of like an Akainu.
yeah,
know?
it kind of makes sense because of the 2. I think Oda was trying to fill in personality-wise the 2 who left the original ones, because Fujitora is more laid back like Aokiji, and now Ryokugyu is more like Akainu, who's more ruthless. And yeah, I wasn't expecting his character to be like this at all.
Yeah, Fuji did not come off as this aggressive.
No.
You know, like Jack got messed up when Jack tried to free them, but
Yeah, like
Green Bull's like finishing the job.
Fujitora literally let Luffy escape from Dressrosa, and was like, "Oh, I wish I wasn't blind so I could see what kind of person you were." Like,
So
yeah.
right, so and then there's this theory that he's gonna restore all the wildlife with Wano, which could be true. I think Oda could be messy with our expectations here, where he comes in just like, oh, he sure is to give me an attaboy if I bring him this brat's head, and then they'll like be like, oh, but Luffy saved us, look at all what the good he did, because there's this theory that he's from Wano and everything, so they can introduce him as like this vicious demon, and then he's like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna help you guys out, and then see you later, I can see that happening too, because he got some kills for the Navy,
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with your analysis for the last chapter. I don't think Oda's gonna introduce him for like 2 chapters, and then like he gets taken out of the next 3 chapters.
Yeah. Especially with this, but I just find it. I was reading this and I was like, oh my gosh, he's literally an Akainu fanboy. He wants his approval.
Yes.
And everything.
It's just interesting because he did disobey Akainu once by letting Fuji into the reverie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like kind of the only time, but yeah, aside from that though, like how Oda did it, I enjoyed this chapter a lot more than the previous one, because I think this chapter is pretty fantastic, but the previous one I was definitely shitting pretty hard on it, so it was a nice change of pace. But yeah, now we're Flower Capital, kind of just some more celebrations. Kids pissed off that he didn't make the cut.
Yeah, well, we get to see Luffy telling Momo that he doesn't want credit for anything, because he doesn't want to be the hero, which is still in line with his character. He doesn't want that.
Right.
But yeah, I like the partying panels and everything.
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah, we don't get to see Carrot with any of the Straw Hats, discrediting her even further.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But really quick, going back up, we do get to see Yamato interacting with like Chopper and Luffy with that. So I think I saw in one of there was a fake spoiler going around that like straight up Luffy inducted Yamato into the crew this chapter, and I was half expecting that, but yeah, we get to see Kinemon and his wife reunite, and then we get the big reveal of who the new Yonko were, and we were kind of expecting maybe like Kid to get in there. We didn't really think Law. We couldn't think of anyone else. The fake spoiler said that it was going to be Weevil, and I was going to be like, how the hell is Oda going to justify this? And then we see the new emperor, the new official emperors are Shanks and Blackbeard, who have been there, and then Luffy and Buggy. So it makes you wonder what happened to have Buggy be a Yonko, because he had to have done something with he obviously escaped the Marines that were sent after him.
Right.
But do you have any ideas about that?
I think, and this is kind of a ballsy theory, I think he's the only warlord that didn't get captured out of all of them, and that's why he rose to Yonko status.
The Mihawk and Hancock slander.
That's like hype. It's like, I did something they couldn't. I got away. So
maybe.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it would be interesting if some of the Yonko, there's so many terms. If some of the warlords went under him. like Mihawk and maybe even Weevil teamed up with him. 'Cause I can't see
Yeah,
really.
that's
I can't really
yeah.
see Hancock doing that.
Yeah.
But who would the other warlords be?
Well, like Law, Doflamingo, obviously their spots were taken out.
Yeah.
And then I think that was about it.
Hancock, Mihawk, Weevil, Buggy.
Okay.
Is Kuma technically considered a warlord still?
Yes, but he's a slave at this point. So
Or
yeah,
well, who knows what happened at the Reverie?
that's true. Yeah, we need answers, Oda. We
Well,
need answers.
Specifically, Ryokugyu at the end of this chapter is like, well, we Marines aren't in such a good mood, especially since the rest of the world is a real mess right now.
Yeah.
So that's even more like, okay, we want to know what happened, because there's a lot of stuff like the what happened at the Reverie. We know the dissolution of the warlords, but like the what's going on with the SSG, what happened with Sabo and the Revolutionaries, what happened with Vivi and Cobra.
Mhm.
There's just a lot that we've been waiting literal years for answers for.
And we could maybe get the information dumped from Green Bull potentially. Maybe I don't think he's gonna be an enemy. I just don't think Oda's just gonna go that route. I think it's just false expectations here. I think he isn't in a good mood because they saw how much chaos Whitebeard going down caused. Well, now we have Kaido and Big Mom going down.
That's true.
Now, like, if Big Mom is down, then like her whole territory is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Including like a road Poneglyph, Pudding, all those territories. That's up for grabs right now, basically. It's gonna be a shit show. And then I guess it's kind of hard to say if Kaido had any territory outside of.
Wano.
Wait, no, did he? I know there's that island X Drake went to.
Yeah. So yeah, he had territory, but
yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Like we saw Big Mom take over Fishman Island after Whitebeard's death, and it would be interesting to see like Fishman Island directly go under Luffy's name now.
Might as well, yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing was, like you pointed out, with Whole Cake, just going really quick back to the cover story. Someone pointed out that the cover story is probably taking place in the past, because in the Vivre card, Oda stated that Caesar escaped Whole Cake Island. So he probably escaped with the Vinsparks with that. But yeah, with Whole Cake, it's interesting they didn't put like if Big Mom went down, they didn't try and replace her with like Katakuri or something. Like I maybe could have seen that if Katakuri.
Maybe they got off screen for all we know.
Yeah, who knows what happened with Teach? Because he was planning on making a move, and that could be part of the mess that the world's in right now.
I'm gonna say that Teach and Shanks went up, or bounties went up a bit. I Teach for sure, 100%. You know.
Yeah. Because he was he like 2 billion or something?
Yeah, he was one of the lower ones, but he made like you know, he said he was gonna make a move. I assume he took advantage of it, you know, and everything. But man, yeah, like I said, this is a good chapter. Obviously, the chapter. Oh, he was 2.4. Yeah, a 2.4 billion. Yeah, I would say like obviously good chapter. These chapters are always good, but I feel like this chapter did a better job wrapping stuff up than the previous chapter did. You know.
Yeah. And
it was cool. Some potential deaths too, which is nice.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Wano's technically over yet, because I'm still waiting for the end of Act 3 card, unless Oda forgot.
Yeah, I do like the theory. It is interesting just by Green Bull being here. He is like using an herbivore type of thing. He is like just changing the landscape just by walking, which is.
Oh yeah, I actually didn't catch that at the end of the chapter. Now I see it. He's creating like a path of flowers behind him.
So he's already, helping Wano and everything too. So yeah, really curious to see. He's probably gonna go Goo Goo Gaga over Nami and all them. So because he's expressed interest in the feminine before. So yeah, it will be interesting. I'm glad we got plenty of Beppo panels too. That was great. And
more than Raizo panels.
Yes. And now we start the break.
Yeah.
Going into next month. So I guess this is a good one to end it on, I think.
Yeah. I think now's the time that we can properly do a reread of Wano and kind of gauge it as an arc. Because I would almost consider this like we had like post Ennie's Lobby, post Marineford, like the big war had wrap up arcs, just little arcs. I would consider this to be part of that. So
yeah.
It would be interesting to see how Wano does on a reread, because I don't know, just the way that it ended kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. But who knows?
No, for sure, I agree. Yeah, this chapter helps redeem it a bit, but yeah. But anyways, I like this chapter a lot more than like the past two, really. But one final note: Queen is in fact skinny, and he is not too popular, so he lied about that. So
I don't know. I don't think not enough people saw him. So
that's true.
Hide your wives.
Hide your wives. Yeah, so we have a skinny queen on the horizon now. But anyway, so already leave a like if you like the video, subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Peace.
Bye.